Morning, Abotai, Erev Shabbat Shalom. This coming Shabbat, Be'ezat Hashem, at the end of the parasha, the Torah discusses the mitzvah of Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. Although the Chachamim instituted to read Parashat Zachor on the Shabbat before Purim, nevertheless the Poskim say that any person who wasn't able to attend Bet HaKnesset on Parashat Zachor is able to make it up this week by listening to the maftir. Maftir of this week is Zachor, as long as the Shliach Tzibur has kavanah to be motzi, and the person who needs to be yotzei has kavanah, they have kavanah for each other, a person is yotzei the mitzvah. That's in general. This year specifically, this coming Shabbat, we have a very interesting phenomenon. The Maharam Shik writes in his commentary on Sefer HaMitzvot in Mitzvah Tafreshe. He writes, in general, there's about 12 months between one time and the next that we read Parashat Zachor. Nevertheless, on years like this year, this coming year is a leap year. Between last Parashat Zachor and this coming Parashat Zachor, you're not going to have 12 months, you're going to have 13 months. Therefore, since the Torah requires us to remember Parashat Zachor once a year, and a year is 12 months, over here, you're going more than 12 months without hearing Parashat Zachor, and that's a problem. Therefore, he says, he has a solution. He says, this coming Shabbat, the Shliach Tzibur and the Tzibur Desherev Kavanah, to be yotzei the mitzvah of Kriyat Parashat Zachor, so that you don't have 12 months that elapse without hearing Parashat Zachor, and then you'll be yotzei again for next year before Purim. He says, he's spoken about this with his Rebbe, Hagaon Chatam Sofer, and his Rebbe was also concerned for this, and he said he's correct that this coming Shabbat on Parashat Zachor, right before, meaning Parashat Ki Tetzeh, right before a leap year, you should have kavanah to be yotzei the mitzvah of Kriyat Parashat Zachor. That's what the Maharam Shik says. Many Acharonim disagree. Hagan of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach in his Sefer Alichot Shlomo says it's not true. He says we don't find anywhere that it needs to be never more than 12 months between each reading of Parashat Zachor. He says, I'll prove it to you. Let's say on 2 years, one after another, without a leap year. 12 months between one reading and the other. Does it always fall out on exactly year to date? Which means, let's say Parashat Zachor, 1 year was on Chet Be'adar. The next year, it can be on Yud Gimel Be'adar. Which means what? It's 12 months and a few days. Oh, according to that, why aren't you concerned about that? It's also more than 12 months that have elapsed. He says, if you're not concerned about that, you shouldn't be concerned about the 13th month. And Be'emet, that seems to be the halacha. We don't find any Rishonim or Acharonim. On the contrary, Sefer HaChinuch writes that the mitzvah of Parashat Zachor, he says, the Torah doesn't say how often you have to remember it. You have to remember the actions of Amalek. Is it every day? Is it once a year? Is it once every 2 or 3 years? The Chachamim were the ones that said we read it every year. They didn't say that there can't be 12 months. It says we don't find anything like that in the Rishonim or Acharonim, and therefore the halacha is we read it as usual. The person wants to be makpid, the person wants to be choshesh for that opinion of the Maharam Shik and the Chatam Sofer. The Shliach Tzibur may announce it, but it's good for the Shliach Tzibur to announce this week. Anybody who hasn't heard this past year Parashat Zachor can be yotzei this coming Shabbat. Have a wonderful day and Shabbat Shalom.